seconds, you guys will be live. And we start the intro music in 10 seconds.
Curious to hear the intro music.
He hates it.
I sure do.
It's British.
All right, you guys ready to go? Okay, cool. So, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. Plenty of blame to go around. Plenty of blame to go around. Join Dave Cyrus and Marissa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
Hey guys, welcome to Blamestorming. I'm your host, Marissa Smith. As always, I've got Dave Cyrus with me. I've got Beth Maria with me.
Hello.
And I've got Elon Altman with me.
What's up?
So, Dave, how have you been?
Fine, thank you for asking. Hey guys, thanks for coming on the show. Beth, I don't know Beth. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
You're one of the only non-roast battlers we ever had as a guest on the show.
I am specifically
I'm
a
the
non-roast
only one
battler.
that books non-roast battlers.
Yeah.
Because I'm a non-roast battler myself.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the only people I really talk to in comedy right now. At
Because
least
you're in your silo, Dave.
well, the people who, would do this show. But yeah, no, me and Elon were just talking about, the way things used to be.
In the roast battle community.
Yes, yeah. We're a very powerful and important community.
And hateful.
No, actually, no, not at all.
Mm.
Yeah, it's all love.
The hateful people
Yeah.
it doesn't really work. I've seen a lot of people get actually angry in those, and they always bomb.
Yeah, it's good to watch, but it's bad for them.
It's fun for us because we're dead inside and we can only enjoy other people's, pain. But as an audience, it never works. I hate it when I think
wouldn't-
people sound angry.
I wouldn't necessarily categorize roast battler enthusiasts as hateful. I would say that they're more numb
Mm-hmm.
than a lot of people
Yeah,
to other people's feelings.
the kind of people who are
Just lack
suicidal
empathy.
but love suicidal humor. Mean Boys fans. Out of the sort of much better podcast. But yeah, that makes sense. It's people who are like numb inside. Though we do get like our share of the like right-wing-ish kind of like they don't really want
Hatred.
jokes. They just
Mhm.
want to see people get
Bleed.
called those words again.
Bleed, yeah.
But those are also like really dumb
Hateful.
audiences.
Like I
Yeah.
said to begin with.
And there's an attraction to like no one will let me say this except for this room, and I got a little tiny boner from it. And I
Yeah.
think that's the same drive that not saying that everyone who feels that way voted for Trump, but certainly there's a big group of people who voted for Trump out of like no other feeling but besides like he says what I want to say and everybody is not letting me say things and now I get to say them and I'm going to call, he calls like, people like women, dirtbags and
Horse
douches
face,
and horse
yeah.
faces and the excitement that some people get is very visible of just being like, yeah, she is a horse face, like can we move on, like why can't we say that in a political arena, and it's an actual discussion and I'm not even going to argue for it or against it. It's just like definitely a pattern that you see.
It's
is
that weird thing where they think they can just say horrible things but say them in the tone of a joke, but they're not joking and they think that's what a joke is.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of the people who think Trump is funny, which I'm always confused by, are the people who think, like, whenever they laugh at his rallies, I've said this before, like, they laugh at his and look surprised, then look to the person next to them because they're with this look of like, wow, I can't believe he said that. We're supposed to feel good about this? Like they're laughing about the tension that's being broken, and what's being broken is
Tension and
the
release.
societal mores
right.
that they were raised with.
Yeah, I
And the
definitely.
morality that they are now deciding is this
Tension and
construct
release.
they don't need to go along with anymore.
I feel like if you did a Venn diagram, there's definitely a huge overlap between people that are roast battle enthusiasts and Trump voters, like without a doubt.
The thing is, though, I don't think I could name a single roast battle person who's a Trump supporter.
But could you
But I mean,
possibly
like the
backtrack?
people that are.
Well, I'm saying like the real fans, I would think are the people who are like into the jokes, and like I don't think there's a single ranked person in all of the rankings who like.
But
is an
forget if
open
they're
Trump supporter.
good. I mean that.
No,
I,
I think they're just saying things that Trump voters like to hear, like mean things.
Well, I mean, I think that when I've done the roast battle podcast like in LA, I've addressed like that there was a contingent of Trump supporters, and my answer to them was I wanted to address them. I said, hey, fuck you, you don't get it, and I think that's part of it. Like they don't really get it. They just kind of
Well, they voted for Trump. Of course they don't get it.
But
They
I'm
don't
saying
get life.
roast battle. Like they don't get what the jokes. They don't really get the jokes. They just kind of like.
The hate.
But they're not realizing that the hate that they're seeing is making fun of them. Because like when these roast battlers make certain kinds of jokes, the kinds of jokes that they like, the joke usually is I'm making fun of this kind of joke. I'm making fun of the kind of person who tells this joke. And I don't think they get that.
Yeah, there's some people on the fringes, like some fans will write to me after a roast battle, and like in the battle, obviously you say some pretty mean things, but then after that, like your friends, it's not even real, it's just part of the show, right?
Right.
But people will write to me and be like, oh, I can't believe that, and then they'll name these awful words in real life, texting me, I can't believe that this, all these things, did that to you or said this, and I'm like, it's over now, and you weren't even part of it, so don't say those words about someone who's like my friend. But
Right.
there are some people like that on the fringes of that community who like it for like these weird reasons. But I think they are just the fringe, like in any situation.
And I have seen guys like that try to roast battle from that perspective, and they're fucking terrible.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even think that the original part of this conversation was about whether or not there are good roast battlers that are Trump supporters. And like, what does it mean? The artisanal, like, someone who's really into it knows what the art behind it is and like knows what it's like to practice it all the time and the kind of like what the core of the community is. It's more like the audience that's attracted to it and the open micers that get hard on it and just the type of people that are attracted to that type of hate. And so like when you get that type of response, it's like, no, your response is like, no, these are my friends. You don't know my reality, but there is, I wouldn't say some responsibility. That might be even going too far, but like, can you not understand the illusion that when you're performing next to somebody and there's complete strangers that don't know you, don't know the community, don't know your friendship, don't understand all of these things, how I'll use the word responsibility. Isn't there some responsibility there that what you're putting out there, how the ripple effect that it has within people to feel empowered to say these things, even though they don't understand the
ironic
layers of it, and they're also not as intelligent as as comedians. We can tip our own hats to say that it takes a certain level of like intense reflection and ability to like look at society as a whole and like ability to see interpersonal connections and stuff, and like the average person, especially if they're attracted to hateful words, is not that way.
Yeah, it's just like ha ha ha. He just called her a whore.
Yeah,
like
and I'm not allowed to do that at work.
Yeah,
so it's really
so, like, this is
gives me a
awesome.
little boner to hear it.
Well,
Yeah,
this
and
is
I
the same-
think that.
Oh, go ahead.
But I also think that like because a lot of you guys are so close and you're friends, like I have a friend that like I've been besties with since like 9th grade, and every time we see each other, like if there's like a weird smell, I'm always just like, D, close your legs. And like, it's like that is like a main thing, and somebody else that doesn't know that we've been friends since we were like fucking 13, and that's been a running joke since we've been 13, is just like, oh, those two are kind of bitchy. But it's like literally like any time, it could just be like a garbage truck driving by, D, close your legs, or she's like, Mass, close your legs.
So is that
like
not
that's
would feel like possible invite for that person who's hearing it to think, oh, that's how they speak. I can speak to
that
them
way. But like to us,
women
it's
speak
just
to each
like
other that way. That's okay for us to speak to women that way. Like
right. But
it's
like
just-
to us, we're just friends that have been friends forever, and we just say horrible shit to each other. Like we literally just greet each other ho.
That's irony. You're utilizing irony, which I mean, a lot of people,
don't
I think.
understand.
Well, not that. And the worst thing is, it's not that they don't even understand it. A lot of people willfully ignore it because they think that it gives them a sense of power to say, "Well, if I choose to think that you meant the opposite of what you meant, I get to feel like a hero for being mad at you," which is a problem separately. That people
But
have.
I still like.
It's sort of a laziness thing.
I don't necessarily always 100% think that that's a laziness thing. I think that we have so many people that are on the spectrum now, or at least register on the spectrum, as before we didn't know that so many people were on the spectrum, that they just don't get it. I think that some people, like to your point, 100% know this is a joke. It was meant to be a joke, and they're deciding to be outraged. But I also feel like there's a higher percentage of people that just don't get it at all. And they just think that they think very literally, and they just think that these are the words that you said, these are the meaning of those words, and that's what you meant.
It's kind of like when Borat came out. Like, we're Jews. You love
Yeah.
Borat, right?
My wife.
It's a really
funny.
it's one of the fun. I mean, the character before the movie was like one of the funniest, like just straight comedy characters ever.
Right.
Jews tend to love it. When he sang "Throw the Jew Down the Well," Jews are laughing really hard at the over-the-top, ironic use of anti-Semitism.
Right.
But people are watching that and just enjoying the idea of throwing a Jew down the
Right.
well.
Right.
Now, I don't mind that. I don't think that like the fact is it's wrong for me to enjoy it for the level that he intended it just because so many idiots are joining on another level. It sucks, but it's sort of like, I guess when you say the question about responsibility, it's, I don't know. Do we have a responsibility to sanitize
Not sanitize.
just because we're worried about what the worst people will get out of it?
Well, this is like an issue that happened with All in the Family, where some people thought Archie Bunker was like this hero.
And he wasn't.
Right.
He was meant
he was
to
a racist character.
Right. He was
but-
meant to make fun of those people.
Right, and South Park has the same thing, right, where they're making fun of things, but you have to really think of it on a certain level, and people are looking at it on that first level and thinking, oh, yeah, like, fuck those people, fuck these people. And with any kind of art form like that where you're pushing boundaries or trying to shed light on how certain parts of society think, you've got to be aware that, like, yeah, you're going to have some people who this is going to embolden.
Right.
But hopefully there's more people who watch it and who become aware, like, wow, there are people like this, and this helps me understand.
That was kind of like the paradox with like Colbert's, like, you know,
The cancel Colbert thing when
Colbert
Stewie
Show.
Park
but
pretended.
like not
yeah.
even just that cancel Colbert, but like his other show, it was just kind of people on the left were like, oh yeah, he's really sticking it to the right, and the people on the right is like, yeah, that's what we're talking about, like, and
Well,
so like,
let's
Well,
back up.
to a certain point, once you get the sanctity of Jon Stewart, who just said the absolute opposite, coming in and introducing you, I mean, I think that it was purposefully clear that he was playing a character.
Some people didn't get it, but those
Yeah.
people were like dangerously disconnected from reality. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those are people who are going to watch, they don't even know that they don't even know the difference between TV and real life, those kind of people. Those are people who thought that like when Bruno was dropped on Eminem at the MTV Awards that just happened. And that Eminem just sat there in the exact position to make sure that he dropped safely, and it didn't. Like some people are just very, very gullible. I don't know if it's so much as autism as Candy Crush, but something is making people have an inability to pay attention to things.
wait, hold on, you're throwing some Candy Crush shade
Yeah, I'm
right
saying that
now, and
that
I'm
they're
feeling
I know.
a
What
little bit
level-
offended.
What level are you on in Candy Crush?
You don't even want to know.
Because I'm in like the 3000s.
I'm like I'm 4 away from like finishing it again.
I want to get to the end of that path, but I'll never catch up.
All right,
I
I'm gonna
don't-
share something with you, and like this is between us because we're on the show.
Yeah,
because
just
I don't.
between us.
I
And
just want to
whoever
say
this-
I don't
Yeah.
respect
Everyone
you.
turn off your microphones.
I don't respect you guys less than astrologers, but it's on the same ballpark.
It's
I just
nothing
wait.
like
Whoa,
astrology.
whoa, whoa, whoa! I would just like to say, as somebody who is wearing a handmade necklace based on a Wicca necklace that someone else gave me that I wasn't really interested in, made of turquoise, that way to throw shade at the astrology community.
Oh no, that's one of the main things I
Uh,
do that I like to do with my public life is make sure people know how much I don't respect astrology.
That's the end.
I worked at a psychic hotline for 2 years,
Oh,
so
Amazing.
I managed one.
right.
I
so
saw
it's
what
so,
the astrologers
so
actually
it's very
Yeah.
easy to.
did.
I
to
finished it like 3
create
times
that.
already.
Well, I
Oh.
mean, I worked with a very prominent astrologer as well as multiple psychics.
Susan Miller? Tell me it was Susan Miller
No, I
because I respect Susan
probably
Miller.
can't legally say the name, but if you happened upon it, I would
That's where
tell
I
you.
am.
Either way, it was a very
Well-
full of shit person.
Off
Oh, yeah,
microphone,
you're-
I would
you're
love to
totally
hear the name.
close.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things where working in the psychic industry and with
Yeah, you're
astrologers,
totally close.
it just became so obvious to me how much this was just such a con.
There's light at the end of the
There,
tunnel.
it's obviously
Yes.
a con. There is a obviously my interruption was a joke play on Marissa's interruption about Candy Crush, but also like we'll talk more about that.
We
off-
can.
off
I am
microphone.
so
I-
happy to openly attack astrology. You
I
know that-
am so happy to geek, like privately geek with you guys. That is the end, you guys. This is like my 4th time
Yeah,
getting
I don't know
there.
what I'm looking at. I don't know why you're
So
showing
that's
me
the
this.
end.
Wow. I'm really pumped
He-
to see it.
He's almost there.
I'm sure this is really translating well via radio.
Oh no, because
Yeah.
I don't want.
Okay.
You know
so what's
something?
happening now as I narrate is that Marissa is passing around Candy Crush, which
Yeah.
to me, by the way, I've never played Candy Crush. I've only experienced it via person sitting on the side of my ass on the subway. But this looks to me like what is that? It looks like Candyland.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
like Candyland, and this is my first time experiencing it. There's also a mushroom with a bite in it, and the bite looks like it's bleeding. And so that's a good
So
question.
this is like if you were playing Candyland and you're on your last card. Is that why you're so excited?
So like I am like just a couple I'm a couple of sessions away from ending. But I would
how
be
do you feel about
remiss.
that?
Well, here's the thing, right? I've already finished it. I finished it. Will be my 3rd time finishing it. And then when you finish, if you wait like a month or 2, they'll add new levels. And so I've been actually kind of not focusing so that I don't finish it so fast because like
I feel like this isn't something we should be sharing with audience members who trust our opinions on politics.
that's
What,
fine.
horoscopes
I
and
mean,
Candy Crush?
Yeah. I feel like
I
we're
was a
really
poli-sci major.
diluting
Really?
Yeah,
how-
Really? Because the inner workings of roast battles are so much more.
more.
elite?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
at least that's the creation of something. It's not like I just feel like if I was really into wrestling, I would not go on and on about Roman Reigns. And
We
then just be
have
like, but here's what I
so
think
many episodes of you talking about wrestling.
Well, I'm
Ooh,
not into
good
wrestling.
Point.
That was
Good point.
That's 'cause the
Trigger.
guests were.
Marissa's triggered.
Well, the guests were into
kn-
wrestling.
like oh my
I
god,
allowed a discussion on wrestling. I don't actually watch it.
I felt
He
like
allowed
I
it.
was
He
having
allowed it.
coma in Waking Daylight.
That's because we had Eli Sayers and Matt Marin, and they don't really understand anything but wrestling. So we tried to make political arguments using wrestlers as like.
Well,
as-
Matt
as
has a
touchstones.
brain tumor. I
Yeah,
don't know
Matt-
the other one.
It wasn't a tumor. It turns out it was just like some kind of blood clot. Eli Sayers.
No,
Not
I
a
I
tumor.
know. I
It
was
was
just kind of.
Sorry.
What's that?
I said it's not a.
I was
tumor.
making a
It's
joke,
not.
Dave, that was
Kindergarten cop.
ironic, and you purposely
Didn't get it. Well, no, that
just
was-
like the right.
I implore our audience to listen back and tell me if I missed something. So, I'm actually happy to like talk about psychics and astrology because I really feel like it's something that is just a very old con that has been used to hurt people a lot.
Also, I really enjoy cons, but no, I'm not interested in talking about it because though I will read a Susan Miller forecast she does it every month forecast. I realize along with other things in my life, like I often something will come to my mind and then something will happen immediately after. And I'm training as an art therapist, right? So sometimes I'll be making a collage, like if I was making a collage and like imagery will come up and then someone will tell me something soon after. What I will say about that is it doesn't matter to me whether that is psychic ability or science or just tuning into what is social consciousness, or if it's just tuning into being able to tune into little cues and come up with the conclusion before it's blatantly shown to me. None of the actual thing of like whether astrology is real doesn't matter. The value of me reading Susan Miller and being like, I'm going to read this and I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. Wherever I do find that it suits me, it suits me. And wherever it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm okay with not being like every other institutionalized grouping. I'm okay with not bowing down to it. Not being stating like this is the way life is supposed to be, just like everything else. Gain the value in it. Like I was raised Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
Well,
Institutionalized religion is fucking insane. But
yeah.
but I respect and so Judaism on my dad's side, Roman Catholic on my mom's side, and though I've seen both religions just destroy people I love, totally indoctrinate people widespread that I don't know, just really be used as a tool for harm, I can also appreciate people in my life who decided to, as adults, become lovers of the Torah and of the Bible and take their meanings for it. Don't tell and have friends of different denominations and never preach it. They take it in for what it is. They respect and love people and they do their thing. And that is the type of Judaism. That's the type of Christianity that I respect. And use your text however you want. If I write some fictional Harry Potter and you decide that's your religion, you find some value out of it, as long as you're not telling me that I need to fly on a fucking broomstick and you want to make it legal, like, you want to affect my well-being because you believe something. Which is
sort of the Scientology argument, which is the idea that it has been, of course, by many people accused that Scientology is a religion that was created by L. Ron Hubbard because his books were more sellable when he told people they were real than when he told them they were a story. Is that wrong?
Well, I think that's a loaded question because there's a lot about Scientology that I don't understand.
I'm saying if that was the case.
But
I'm not saying that's a fact.
I think it's pretty well known. Like,
well, we don't.
He was kind of a charlatan and a con man, but at the same token, I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of like I understand what Beth is saying, where you're just like, well, if you respect the Bible, the Torah, or whatever. Like, I'm an agnostic. Like, I believe in God, but I don't believe in religion. I think that all religions are equally as false, but I also equally believe that every religion is valid to be fake. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, like, if someone is like, if I hear a Christian that is mocking Judaism or mocking
the validity
Islam
of it.
or
Well, yeah,
or
if you're gonna
whatever
mock religion, you should definitely be coming at it from an all religions
right
standpoint.
like hashtag all religion
Oh,
like
no.
but like, so if I feel like someone is persecuting a particular religion, I get super offended by that, and like I will, like, I'll have a conversation about it. And I'm defending religions that I don't believe in, but I believe that you can all be wrong equally.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I learned this sort of lesson from my great-grandmother, who was born and raised in New York City I think she was born 1902 or something, right? So, but the background is New York Jew, very superstitious, and a lot of Yiddish superstition, all that stuff. And I learned all these things we couldn't do. We couldn't put our shoes on the table. We had to have a certain amount of pennies in our pocket. We had to, like, all these, like, little things. And what I realized, like, break a mirror, 7 years of bad luck, is that it's just like any fable. Just
Right.
like the Bible, just like everything else. The stories are there to teach your kids not to fucking break a mirror.
Right.
Because
'Cause
not
back
only
then it was
is
expensive.
it the most dangerous thing, little shards of glass, but it's also really expensive to create. You have to,
Right,
like,
at the
fire
time.
sand.
Yeah, it was a horrible thing to break, but at the same time, like,
Don't walk under a ladder, right?
A lot of stuff started because we lied to children because we didn't think that they could handle the reasons to do things, so we just said things were bad luck. But of course, that creates an avalanche. It snowballs into all these other things that people believe in for no reason. So there is a sort of, like, it's not like we're saying, you're a bad person for believing this, but really at the end of the day, all these superstitions, all these things that people it's just structure they gave their lives to make themselves less
Absolutely.
terrified. But
And it's also shorthand for being able to teach cultural needs.
it's shorthand, but it's a shorthand through a lie. Santa is there to get kids to behave.
So back to your question, is it wrong that he made this religion, this story?
Well, I'm not saying that that's what happened, because I'm not trying to slander every Scientologist or the religion itself.
I don't know anything about it.
I'm not saying I know the facts of it, but if
They
the
think
idea
God is an
was-
alien.
I would say if he was lying for that purpose, for money, absolutely, I'd say that's wrong.
Okay.
I think lying for money is always wrong. Always. I think that if we look at religion, astrology, psychics, I mean, the reason I hated psychics was not because I thought they were wrong. It's because sometimes they would blackmail people and they would steal from people.
Mm-hmm.
Same with astrologers. Sometimes they would find the most gullible people and they said, "You're the one I'm going to make my year off of."
Right. It's very
And
easy.
that's-
You're finding vulnerable people, just like religious,
I think
just
in
like the
gen-
Roman Catholic Church
I honestly
does.
believe in general, separating people from reality in any way is wrong unless it has a very understandable and forgivable reason, and money is not one of them.
But I also think that you need to leave room in life for the unknown. So, like, I think that, yes, for the most part, you can say, I'm just going to spitball a number. Let's say 95% of psychics are bullshit. 95% of astrology is bullshit. 95% of religion is bullshit. But you still have that 5% of unknown that, like, kind of, like, I'll give it.
But that's the same argument that QAnon uses. They say, what if maybe 99% of the things we said about Hillary Clinton and lizard people are fake, but 1% has to be true. Like, that's their argument.
Okay, so I would say, yes, but the ultimate thing I have to say about this in my life, not here, I'm not saying like close the book on this conversation, but what I boil this down to is, we know. Let's talk from a scientific place, because science often likes to discredit every religion and everything with facts. The one fact that science knows about and tests over and over and over again is the placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know that the placebo effect exists. We understand that intention does have an effect on our behavior
And the results. Yeah.
Our feelings about something changes the results. So if we know that, and that's a scientific fact,
Faith is powerful.
that is the same word, and I use this term so much in so many of my like little bits, and I've been reviewing a lot of them, so my head's exploding. But my thing is it's a difference in translation. It's just a different word for the same phenomenon. Faith, when people say like, "Oh, you're having a hard time," just have faith. It's the
Right.
hope. Keep the hope alive. What are you not saying?
That's life's
but
placebo.
believe in your placebo.
But that
Yeah.
relies on the hope that the faith is doing more good than bad. Right?
When you're geared towards an end goal, that's supposed to be positive.
Right, but it's supposed to be. But the whole point is that, I guess what I'm saying is that with both astrology and religion, I don't think it's it should be assumed that they're having a net positive effect on people, because, of course, all those things that had to do with like things that we lied to our kids about because we thought it was best for them, well, a lot of times it wasn't best for them. And these were primitive people, making up rules that had to be obeyed, or you're going to be, burned in hell, because you can't just say, because I think it's better for you.
Now we're talking about systemic oppression.
Well, yes, and how it's been used by those things.
100%.
Yeah.
But when you talk about, let's say, the two friends that I like to refer to, my Jewish and my Christian friend by choice as adults, they're choosing to engage in the part
Positive.
that's healing for them,
Right.
not in the part that just, because they were both raised of those religions, and they were taught, don't have sex, you can't have interracial relationships, you can't have interreligion relationships, all these things. Those were oppressive mechanisms from their religion
That someone thought were for the best.
They broke from them, and that's where my definition comes in. They broke from them, they both rebelled from them, and in their adulthood they read back into those texts, decided the parts of them that would serve their own health and spirituality, and decided to only incorporate those parts.
But there are also people who believe in a religion, like Christian Science, where they don't believe in going to doctors, and so that's their faith. Like, this is the way, like, if we just pray, like, that'll solve our
No.
problems, and then their kids die.
But when they make those choices for their children, that's when it's no longer selfless.
Okay, but if they do it for themselves even, and they just die because they had a cold
if
or
they
something.
decide that they want to follow that path, I totally believe in euthanization for human beings. They decide to die on their own. That, in my opinion, is fine. Once you incorporate your children and you tell your children that they have to live this way,
But that person must have
like the Hasidic
probably
community.
ended up that way because their parent told them when they were too young to know better. I mean, I don't want to make this a the whole thing about just attacking religion. It's just it's sort of what we're kind of getting into, and it actually relates to something I wanted to talk about because I was going to say a thing about how like I see religion and psychics and prison all the same. They all have to exist on some level, I guess. But once the profit's involved, there's something really wrong.
Yep.
And like for profit prison. And the reason I bring up for profit prison is because people need to bring this up when we talk about the criminal justice reform bill that's coming up that just happened. That Congress wants to. That Trump is basically saying, well, I need to do something big to not look as racist if I want to continue being the candidate of white supremacists. So
Or is
a
he
famous
doing this
person,
because he thinks that he's going to go to jail and he wants a cushy ride?
No way.
Yeah. All prison toilets must be made of gold.
No, it's a good joke, but like he's doing this because a famous person would said that I'll like you publicly if you do this, and he
Right.
thinks this is how I can offset the open neo-Nazi ideology I'm
Right.
pushing. The important thing we have to remember here is Barack Obama was the one trying to stop for-profit prisons, and Trump undid that when he came into office because at its base,
Wasn't that the first thing he did?
that was
Yeah,
I believe that was
Like,
When-
it was like January 22nd.
Yeah.
it was one of
I,
the
w-
first.
I was like not even back from DC yet.
Right. So he specifically made it clear that he is for-profit prisons. He is against criminal justice reform until it became one of his transactional moments where he said, "Oh, I can do this," and then they can't say this. And the sad thing about it is the Republicans didn't even say a word about it. If Barack Obama had put the exact same bill, they would have lost their minds and done every dog whistle they had.
Right.
So it's good that we're taking advantage of his cravenness by getting this through, getting something we want. By
He
just
just
taking
wants
advan-
wins right now. He doesn't care what the win is. He just wants
he
to
never
win
cared
something.
what the win is. It's so crazy. Every time somebody says something that Trump is doing, it's like, oh, he believes in this, believes in that. I will say that from 2015 and a half on, when he first decided to like take his little mini mushroom dick out in public, as someone who was born and raised here, as someone who already knew his reputation and fought against it from the very fucking start that I'm exhausted, what I will say is please stop imagining that he has some thought other than the profit behind any transaction. That is fully what that's fully what all the decisions are. And it happens to be that a lot of them are within the same ideology because he's signed a line with people of the same ideology, but not one of his choices. And if anyone believes that he has any moral thought or political thought besides how to make money and how to look cool.
Yeah, just getting attention. I mean, his whole thing about like that's what's so scary that his Nazi ties are not ideological. It's actually scary that they're not ideological.
Actually, they're
because
it's heritage.
Yeah.
right, it's mostly it's
That's
scarier.
genetic.
It's scarier that someone doesn't care that much about Nazis one way or the other. That he's just like, oh, they want in, sure, let's go with them. Like it would be less scary that he was just a delusional racist. It's worse that he's just like so morally neutral that the idea of if he can get one Nazi vote, he will be a Nazi.
Yeah, he just wants fans, and it doesn't matter where they come from.
I
He'll
don't-
always take them in and accept what they are for and never say anything against
How
them.
can how can middle America and evangelical? I mean, I know that once you say
Because it was always
I'm-
a lie. They never really the
Believed,
evangelicals
yeah.
who do like Trump never believed any of it. They were always authoritarians
did they
who
si-
wanted to use their sky daddy to punish us
right,
with.
they're only going for who is going to say the things that they've never heard anybody say and possibly go with the things that they want.
They
to be
want
done.
to keep women down. You can't. You gotta
so-
have
it's
my
just so-
baby when I
it's so-
rape you.
It's so
Keep
alive.
the brown people and the people of color down. You gotta
This
pick my
man never
fucking
worked
cotton.
a day in his
That's about
fucking
it.
life.
They're
He is
under
the elite of elitists. He is the least intelligent of the most. He is every.
He looks like what they describe as the devil. He looks like the evangelical version of the devil.
Oh, how do they describe it? I don't know.
Oh, like a red-faced
Very
carpet.
handsome.
A
That's just my personal opinion.
A rich
Oh,
New York
yeah.
carpetbagger with a red face who bangs porn stars. Like it's literally their
Yeah.
version of what like the real life devil would be, except for a spade
Yeah.
mustache.
Oh, I thought you were going to quote the Bible. I was like, what does the devil look like?
Well,
no,
he's a
but,
seven-headed dragon, but you know.
but you're right. He's a guy who will sell gay porn if it made him a profit, and that's
Right.
definitely Donald Trump.
I mean, that's why he hates trans people, is because he just saw that as one of the many things that, people call Trump a genius. He's not a genius. All he is a person who was willing to. He's Tom Green.
Sorry, I made sound.
Trump is
effects.
Tom Green. Tom Green was not smarter or funnier than anyone else. He was just willing to
He's
do
like my
any
bubbles on your
grossest
lips.
things that
Yeah.
anyone would do to get on TV. So Trump said, well, all these politicians are all afraid that they'll look like Nazis if they say this, even though a lot of people would vote for them.
Money on the table.
Exactly. I'll say it.
He's like, where are the scraps?
Yeah. Well,
Who's not picking up the extra profit here?
He's nickel and diming hate.
Well, yeah. He sees that even the worst Republicans were still not willing to lay down with Nazis themselves. And he said, you people are idiots.
But also his dad was kind of a Nazi.
Well, his dad was literally a Ku Klux Klan member. He
Yeah.
was in 2 newspapers for being arrested for fighting Catholics and Italians.
So, like, that's, like, a genetic thing for him. I think that's
Well,
why,
hate
like...
is not genetic.
No, I think
I think it
every
is.
born
It's
every
nurture.
born baby has the chance of being completely separate.
That's true.
I think that what is genetic and what scientists talk
Temper.
about is not Scientologists, but scientists talk about, right, is the trauma genes. So you can inherit very literally the experience of genetic trauma,
Yeah.
and then how that appears.
Is that like the
how-
Can I
thing
relate
where-
that back to like psychics for a second? So like this is I'm gonna truncate this as much as I can. So I like went out. I think it was like maybe 2 Memorial Day weekends ago. I went out to the Hamptons with like a bunch of girls. We rented a place or whatever. We doing our
Let's
Hampton
get
shit.
pictures.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, girl. So like we went out to the Hamptons, and like my friend is just kind of like, oh, I've got like this masseuse, and I'll like have them come to our room
Yeah.
or whatever. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay,
Rub your boobs. Get it?
like
Been
this
there.
older lady, but she does like a psychic massage, and
Yeah,
so
it's
like
Reiki. Is it Reiki a little bit?
kind of a little bit, and then
Mhm.
she like can feel where like all of your stress is, and
Which
this
is
and
easy to do if you're just fucking.
touching my back.
Yeah.
So like she goes and she does everybody's massages, and she's telling them about like
I hope this turns vaginal.
no, it didn't turn vaginal. But like she's telling them all about like, oh, like something, you really need to trust yourself more. You need more confidence. You need to like get away from this guy. This guy is giving you all this stress, blah blah blah. And then while
Who
she's doing
doesn't?
right, and
We're
so then
running as women. We just are
running-
constantly running.
yeah, it's-
away from men.
so she's doing my massage, and I was just like, okay, so like, what is your life suggestion for me? Because you haven't given me any. And
Mm.
then she's just like, oh, honey. And I'm just like, what? And she's just like, well, your angel wings are stuck because you have hundreds of years of oppression keeping them down.
You're like, bitch. You
And I'm
ever
like,
heard
what
of
color was she?
melanin?
What color was she?
she was,
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I just
what's
need to know
what's
this
her
for this.
color, Marissa?
Yeah, was
Yeah,
this a black
right.
woman talking about your
Are
oppression,
we?
or was this a
Are,
white
is
woman?
this
No,
mocha?
she was-
Is she dark chocolate?
She was Dutch.
Was she?
Oh,
Yeah.
so
So-
what color was she?
she was Dutch
Right,
color.
Exactly. I was assuming that it was a white woman who was trying to draw your slave ancestors into her massage.
Like, and I'm
See-
just kind of like, okay. So, like, how do you suggest relieving the pressure of thousands of years of oppression?
Right.
Like, I just want my neck
So
to work.
I think that if you'll allow this thought to come through, because I'm taking it somewhere, but the difference between, let's say, like, so your example and I'm sorry, Dave, right?
Mhm.
Dave, your impression of the psychic community
Mhm.
through a business perspective, because you worked for them.
Yeah.
The difference between what I hear, the concept of this woman is really powerful, but the way that she may have approached it from the way that you told it is different. So I will not practice on the person beside me, but what I will say is his arms are crossed. Okay.
He's closing us
tension,
out.
His tension is, and are you okay with a slight touch?
Yes.
Okay.
There
So-
was consent there, folks.
Yeah.
He's married.
I'm okay with a slight touch
A
above
slight
the
touch.
belt.
And
Thank you.
what I will do is
This
I
is a
will
shoulder
Okay.
touch
I
for the
will-
people
I
listening.
will rely on your honest feedback to be I will rely on you to make any stops, okay?
Okay.
Okay. This is recorded and consented. So what I will say is
Beth, stop touching his dick.
oh fuck.
Keep going.
Is that there I can see very easily that there's tension in his shoulder blades, right?
Right.
He's actually holding up his top half actually with his other arms. So if he relaxes that, he will then find kind of relaxation in the top of his body.
Right.
And it might be too much for him, and it's my thing to gauge whether it's too much for him. So what I could tell him if I were her, but more morally honest, is just saying, instead of being like angel wings, melanin, whatever, is just being like, hey, it seems like your energy is condensed here, your tension's condensed here.
Right.
And if I press here, is that okay for you? Do you feel a relaxation down your arm? Well, if you do, then maybe it's best that I press this pressure point. And it's based on only my intuitive perception of what is, rather than putting on a story in order to get you to buy, because that's what Dave is saying.
Right.
Like when you put money on.
Give a
like,
bigger tip.
To like create a business out of like what I know about you, other than just what I can tell from my intuition. So she's probably very intuitive, but she's adding on this part that is making you feel like it's magic.
It's called
Like,
bullshitting.
no, but
She's
like the thing that
bullshitting
I
you.
thought was the most ironic thing was that like she was like, so like there was a Jewish girl that was like on the trip with us, and she was talking to her about like, oh, like all these like Jewish guys that she's dating.
Fuck this bitch. Give me her
Meanwhile,
number. Give me her address.
Beth is gonna
I'm
go
about
total
to
Brooklyn.
go-
Meanwhile, like I'm the only one on the trip that ever dated any Jews, and I'm like saying to myself like, this one only dates Greeks, that one only dates Irish, that one only dates Italians. I'm the only one that dates Jews at all. So like I don't even know where you're going with this.
Yep.
It's like
Who only dates one kind of person?
That's
Who are
really
these
that
people?
is strange.
That is.
they're
You had a
Greeks
group.
only.
The very
Yeah.
end, you had a group of friends, and each one had a very
I
had
was
one
gonna-
nationality they dated. Is the
It's
weirdest
very
thing
I
I've
have
ever
to
heard.
say that
Your
that's-
it's
friends are
easier that
dicks.
way.
That says a lot about
Marissa,
the
it
group
kind of-
as a whole, and also
because
I
I
I
like a
hate your
smorgasbord.
friends.
are the Greek did the Greek
Every
does
guy
the
I've ever
Greek
dated
chick-
hates my friends.
Does the Greek chick also
The Greek chick is the Jew.
does the Jew?
Yeah.
And I will only say that because I have
You could call us that.
and that's fine.
We're fine with that.
And my dad.
I mean, by osmosis, and I'm a step Jew.
is she into?
I'm a
and
step Jew.
would
My
she
third
date a
stepmom was
Cypriot?
Jewish.
A Cypriot, right? Like for someone from Cyprus that speaks Greek but is not from Greece.
Oh, I guarantee you, she'll fuck any Turk who lies.
Yeah, is it a Mediterranean based thing?
I think it is
Mediterranean but not African.
Yes.
Oh wow.
You know,
wow.
there's
That's
a
Well, there's
Tinder
pretty
for Greek
far.
people. It's called Diner.
Oh, it's called.
I mean,
it's
you say that like
called-
Mediterraneans and Africans look alike. Like they're.
We're all
Well,
Gus's. That's the
Definitely
name
not.
of it.
As someone who's half of my lineage
Malacca.
lives off the Mediterranean, what's so silly about all of this like nationality shit is like Italy was not called Italy until America made it Italy, and the south of Italy, which is where half my family's from, it's the fucking historically the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh yeah, well.
And like the trade and the constant love and pillaging and sailors and people that swirled around the top of Africa and the
look at
bottom
fucking
of
Carthage.
it's just you have to forget about nationality and just think of like what the lineage is and just
Right.
Carthage was friggin' white people who like took over northern Africa. People, it's the Our history is so long and weird. Like a lot of stuff happened in history we don't even know. I mean, Sicily, or Syracuse, whatever. If you want what it was called.
Syracuse. Is that what Connecticut people call it?
That's what
The Connecticons.
That's what
Syracuse.
long before it was
Yeah.
called Sicily.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
what
I'm
it was called.
ignorant. I'm just I'm being silly.
But where the word Syracuse comes from is from
Where Brooklyn at?
Sicily was originally called Syracuse. Yeah, and I mean
Wonder
they're
is
very
that why we
dark.
call Syracuse Syracuse?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's It's just, that's what they're
Upstate New York has a lot of towns. There's like Rome, New York,
Yeah.
Syracuse, New York.
Oh,
Um,
Villa Roma, Villa Roma. What a wonder. Okay, sorry, that's a shout out to a place I had to go to that only people from Bensonhurst went to. That was 3 hours.
It's up in
north.
Sullivan County.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, it's a
yeah.
nice resort still there.
let's keep talking geography. But yeah, no, I mean Sicilians are dark as fuck. You know, they were taken
Well,
over. There's you know,
there's
it's that
a
part of
long-
the world.
there's
There's
a
so many
long
different people
lineage.
going through
Yeah.
it.
So
I also heard this about Sicilians. I don't know if this is true or not, but
Oh, here we
apparently they
go.
have. I don't know if this is true. It might be true. They have marinara sauce as their blood. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, hey! Oh!
Hey!
Someone told me that. I don't know.
Yes.
In with the jokes. Honestly,
We're
I
back
think
with the
that's.
comedy.
I think that's what this needed. Thanks for the relief.
I actually know
So-
someone.
I was being serious.
I know someone who referred to herself as an Afro-Italiano, and I was like, "You mean Sicilian?" Like those.
No, but there
Those are the same
are.
thing.
So like
Well,
I
she
like
might
went on
have
like
been of
2
African
dates
descent
with
who lives
a guy that was an
shaking his
Italian
head.
Somali.
Yeah.
And he essentially was Afro like Italiano.
Oh no, to be fair, the person I'm talking about was not at all African. It was just a dark-skinned Italian who thought that counted.
Yeah, no, like this guy, like his family was
Aw.
from Somalia. They moved to Italy when he was like a child. He spoke fluent Italian. He had an Italian accent, but like he was
sure.
just, like, you know, from
I mean, there's
Somalia.
people from other places everywhere.
Yeah. But like going back to like your Sicilian thing, so like back in high school, I was dating this guy that was Italian. But like I'm from Yonkers, which can be the Yonkers.
Well, it's
the
near the Bronx. So
Yeah.
you were about to say the Bronx.
we actually call ourselves the
You- but
YO.
You
We're
decided
the
you were
YO.
too good to say you're from the Bronx, and now you're a
No,
Yonkerite.
she's not from the. She's not from the Bronx.
So
I'm
you-
not from the Bronx. I'm from the YO. Southside do or die. So I was dating this guy. I met him in high school. He was a little bit older, but he was an Italian guy. And like I ran into him in the grocery store, and like
As you do by
as
the
you-
mozzarella
you
section.
don't know what I'm saying. We're chucking out. He's with his mother. I'm with my mother.
How can
and
you do
so-
such a bad New York accent when you're from here?
Because
I
she's
said I'm
not.
from Yonkers.
She just said.
Yeah, that was a great
she's
Yonkers
not.
accent.
The Yonkers accent
It's
is
completely-
the not New York accent.
Accent,
being
yeah.
very close to it. She's accurate.
Yeah, like I sound like a Yonkers Italian. So I'm in the grocery store. I see him. We're checking out, and so then like we're saying hello, and his mom, like, 'cause this is back in the day before
his
everybody
mom.
had cell phones and shit. So like your mom would pick up the phone. So like he's just like, "Oh, ma, this is my friend Marissa," and then she's like, "You sound familiar to me. Have I talked to you, honey?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, like you pick up the phone a lot." And then so later he like grabs me in the parking lot. He's like, "Listen, if my mom asks you why you're so dark,"
Oh my fucking God.
I told my mom you're
I'm getting
you're
tension.
Sicilian.
And no, you have to finish the story. His mother was mentally challenged, right?
Yonkers Italian.
Yeah, just
Oh.
a racist old white
she was
lady.
so she was a normal
I'm
human
so-
being that he
hey,
thought this would work
no,
on?
I'm sorry,
I
Dave.
don't
I
know
think
if
that's
that's-
implied in this.
I was gonna say no other person could think that you would think that you were Sicilian, so I was just assuming
There's some out there.
she had
but
like
yeah.
brain damage or something.
Well, here's like so the problem. I guess the problem with my name is as Marissa Smith. People assume, and with what you point out, why you always have to tell people I'm black, is that with my accent and my name,
So
people think I'm an Italian Irish.
if I don't say it, nobody's gonna know.
I didn't even know until you just said that,
Right.
actually.
If I don't say it, people are gonna hear us and think it's a show full of white
You
people.
know what? I appreciate where you're coming
I have an
from
obligation
this whole
to
time.
make sure everyone knows. You know, that's why I don't say
You're
I'm
here to
Jewish
do
because
your
people can
job.
hear it in my voice.
I don't think people can hear
Dave
it
is
in your voice. They
Chinese.
could just say that you're
I
from
would not
fucking
think you were
Jersey.
Jewish. I would
Thank
think
you.
that I would easily think that
Just
you had an
Jersey.
AK-47 and you might shoot up a school.
Aw,
You just
thank
look
you.
Columbine. That's what she's
They
saying.
were
That's what I'm
skinny, so
saying.
thank you.
Nothing about you
Those
I
is
thought you were going to say he looks calm, and then it became Columbine.
Those
No.
guys are both ripped.
very, very little Jewish in you now. You know,
But like, so then I'm just
in
like,
presentation.
Thank
And
you.
I'm someone who presents as nothing that they are. So go ahead.
no, but like he's just like, oh, so like if you talk to my mom, and my mom asks you, you're Sicilian, and I'm just like, did she see
Get your
me?
fucking sausage away from
And
me,
I'm
you
like,
goddamn prick.
did she
What
see
is
my
his-
mother?
Tell me
Like-
his name. Tell me his number. Give
You
me
date
his fucking
morons.
address.
The guys you
Well,
date
no,
are
hold
dumb.
on. How long ago
This
was
guy
this?
was dumb
This
as
is like
shit.
high school.
Okay, everyone was dating a moron in
guy
high
is so
school, and they were
dumb.
probably you, Dave.
Who would
okay?
do this? I'm not Italian. Who would make?
I
who would
didn't.
think
Morons
his-
are not exclusive to
This guy
ethnicity.
does not respect his mother. What kind of Italian guy has so little disrespect?
You don't understand what it means to respect your mother in the Italian community, because actually what he was doing was completely
Respectful to his mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was disrespectful to me,
And human beings.
but like completely respectful to his mother.
Oh, yeah. All she wanted was for the presentation. Why are you telling me this? Why are you even, he even told her the truth with being able to pass off a lie, that would be disrespectful.
Right.
You-
If he really loved his mother, he wouldn't have dated you.
I mean, you have not seen 18-year-old Marissa. Sorry. But like, no, it was like nuts though, because like,
he didn't say that he wouldn't have cause to date you. He said if he really loved his mother, he wouldn't.
He would have
dated-
respected her racism.
He
is
would.
what
He
I'm
would
saying.
have. He would have seen how gorgeous you are, how smart you are, how ambitious you are, and he would have denied it completely for the sake of her comfort.
Exactly.
instead
His
of beating
hateful mother.
people up at bars every night, because
Right.
like,
You know what, Damiano Peppino Macaluso, the guy who took my virginity without, ever really
Cons-
asking,
consent
without
or
consent, he had a bat in his fucking trunk, and we dated for 3 years, and it was what it was.
no,
sucks.
that's I 100%.
He also just committed suicide in December, so he can't hear.
So were you. then.
yeah.
I mean,
No,
he can always hear.
Here,
Well,
but
this
like,
podcast goes
he
out to a lot of
can't be.
people.
I don't. I'm
He
sorry,
can't be
I don't
present,
think you can
but
get.
he can
his
hear.
I don't
parents
think they have
know.
Wi-Fi in hell.
His parents know.
So-
My parents know. Everything's fine.
No, but
I
like
love
that
him.
was like the
It's
crazy
fine.
thing was
We
like
made peace. We made peace.
so like I would go to like like when I was younger and IDs or whatever, but like I was going to bars or whatever, and he would not talk to me in front of his friends,
What?
but like and
in
then
high school
yeah,
at
because
bars.
I started going to bars when I was 14. Are you
Okay.
not good at art?
Yeah,
Have you never
that's
been to
why
Yonkers
we
before?
so close. That's why we friends. That's why I had a fake ID when I was 13, and that's why I'm brain damaged.
Well, in
now.
Yonkers,
Yeah.
they only card the ugly 13-year-olds at the bar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
just
were
had
hot.
to sign up
Yeah.
for the
we were hot.
literally every bar I went to, I just had to sign up for the wet t-shirt contest, and I was good.
Oh,
But like, so like he'd see me like
oh,
we're,
Marissa, we
I'm-
have some trauma to work through.
that's why I have a therapist.
Mhm.
So like,
I
so
didn't-
like he'd like go and like he wouldn't talk to me anything like that. But if I danced with a guy, if I talked to a guy, he'd wait for that guy to leave and beat the shit out of him in the parking lot. And then he'd get
Mhm.
banned from like everywhere. And then he'd
Yup.
have either him or his boys would like follow me home to make sure that I got home okay.
Heard of it?
But then
Permission
like,
stalking.
to your mother, I'm Sicilian. It's
Yeah.
just like
But to
you
your whole-
literally
Your whole crew.
you have like 4 fucking court hearings because of guys that dance with me, but like I'm a Sicilian.
I mean, I don't understand why he's why did he let you in the house? That's what I don't understand.
I never
This
went
guy
to the
has such a
house. I
racist
never
house.
I never went to the house.
Wow, that's
I
what
never
you're-
went to the
that's
house.
what you're Dave. That's
I'm
what
saying
you've
for
just
her
pulled
safety.
from that story.
Yeah, I'm saying like for her safety. This guy, he's like if he.
You
if
think the mother causes a bigger threat than when they're out at a bar and there's an interracial couple dancing on the stage?
I'm saying they're both threats. I'm saying it sounds like this guy's from such a weirdly like dangerous household that I can't. I thought you were saying he let you in. He like invited you over without telling them that you're black when they're racist. That's what I was surprised by.
No, I never went to the house. He never came to my house. Although I had a problem in college once that he took care of, and I was okay with that.
Oh yeah. Well, you know,
Yeah.
thugs have.
They have their upsides.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
That's, there's no-
Sometimes you have a problem and you need to talk
Sometimes
to
you can-
somebody, and somebody talks to Vinny, and Vinny takes care of it.
Sometimes you can point the toxic masculinity at someone else and let it do something.
Just like a fucking laser focus.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. Let's talk about
Especially-
politics.
Especially when the
Well,
Talk.
should we take a break?
Probably should.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. This will be the following week since we didn't talk about anything we need to know about.
we're not sorry, actually.
No,
I'm
this
not
is-
part of this show, but I'm gonna just step in drunkenly and say we're not sorry because everything that was said, I'm really excited
Oh
about.
no, I
Yes.
like the show.
Yeah.
Actually, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have one episode that's like super topical and one that goes 2 weeks later, so we shouldn't be too topical.
Perfect.
So
So
we
this-
actually did it this time.
This is the
Yeah.
topical one.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
The next one's gonna be all about wrestling.
Yay.
But you came in with all the punchlines.
I punched up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you punched it up. That's what
That's
Elon
great.
does.
Yeah.
You punch up, I punch down. It's a good process.
You're not allowed to do that in comedy.
I talk about the Yonkers Italians.
I
She
came in
talks
with the
about the
impression.
fucking
Non-consent.
astrology and the non-consent. You know what I'm talking about? We got some fucking.
Oh, rape is hilarious. Okay, you guys are taking a break?
We are
Yeah.
taking a break. So this has been Blamestorming. We will talk to you next week, you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And now we're gonna do the second episode. Or
Yeah,
Now we'll do the
just-
first episode.
All right, can I get water? Because I've wasted my.
Get a
Is there,
cup and then.